What's cracking, like it's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. And we're talking running back start sits. What to do with that? We got a few teams on the bye. Dalvin Cook, probably the biggest hit for most of you guys. So let's go ahead, let's get in. But before we do that, I got a new mock draft out. As promised, came out a day late. I'm sorry, I had to watch my kid the day before. And believe it or not, it takes a little time to record, edit, and then uploading's been taking a long time for me on YouTube. I don't know why, but it is what it is. And if you're a fan of the channel, go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Support your boy and leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Leave all questions and concerns in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer those. We're getting into these important weeks for fantasy football, and we need a win. Playoffs are coming, so let's go ahead. Let's dive into the nitty gritty. We're talking Indianapolis versus Houston. Jonathan Williams, man, out of nowhere, came out and put up a great game, and I think he's a start this week as well, because Colts, they like to run the ball. They like to establish the run. Marlon Mack is going to be out. Jordan Wilkins is still questionable, but I still like Williams to get a bulk of the carries, while Hines, Hines is more so going to be a third down pass catching back. I don't think he'll eat into Williams' workload. So I like Williams this week. As for Nyheim Hines, he has the pass catching upside, so I would say he's a low end start here. And then Carlos Hyde is a start. He's only scored under 10 points twice this season. I think he has great running back to value. And then we have Duke Johnson. He's a sit, man. He's a sit. It's just too hard to predict his output in this offense. And then we go to Cleveland versus Miami. Let's start with Kalen Ballage, who I have as a start. No more Mark Walton. While I know Ballage isn't the sexiest option, he's still a starter. I know he didn't break over 10 rushing yards or receiving yards, but he had the touchdown. He gets the volume, and he's not a bad low-end flex. As far as Nick Chubb, you always start Nick Chubb. And Kareem Hunt, I think, is a fine start here as well. The Dolphins, they're 26 against opposing running backs. And in the last two games, Kareem Hunt, he's had 11 touches and then 12. So it looks like it's going to be getting progressively more. And in a game which could be a blowout, they might rely on him a little bit more. Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. Let's talk about Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber. They're both sits. They're just too unpredictable when it comes to their usage. This is a game where they might fall behind early because Jameis Winston likes to turn the ball over. So I have them as sits. And then as for Brian Hill or Olsen, they're sits as well. The Tampa Bay, they may get beat over the top, but they are elite when it comes to stopping the run. They're second against opposing running backs. Devontae Freeman, still questionable, so watch out for that. You might, even then, I don't know if I'd start Devontae Freeman if he plays, but without Freeman, it's a backfield by committee. That's what this last week proved, so no faith in that. Now, Denver versus Buffalo. Oh man, Phillip Lindsay, your start. Buffalo, they're 20th against opposing running backs, and the last 2 weeks, Lindsay, he has doubled his usage compared to Royce Freeman. Freeman's a sit for me. They're just not using Freeman as much. Lindsay's a good home run threat. I like him in this matchup. And Devin Singletary, same thing. He's a big home run threat. It's kind of a tough matchup, but he is the big play back. And then sit Frank Gore. He's just not producing, and now he's starting to get less and less volume. So it's just not. There's better options. And then the Giants versus the Bears. Be on the look. I don't know if Saquon Barkley is actually going to start. Monitor his status. They might shut him down for the year because it's not like they're going to be winning. But depending who is the starter here, Barkley or Wayne Gallman, I would say those guys are starts. Oh man, I mean Chicago, they're 21st against opposing running backs, and Gallman's only a start if Barkley is out. And then David Montgomery is a start as well. Giants are 22nd against opposing running backs, and I know Cohen's starting to dip into his volume, but I don't think as much. They found themselves behind last week, so Tariq Cohen got kind of a bit more touches than he probably normally would. So Cohen's a sit. Montgomery is a start. And Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati. If check Connor's health, again, you want to be sure. It's likely he'll be out this game, but I still like him and Jalen Samuels as starts. I think this might be a run-heavy game. Cincinnati, they're 30th against opposing running backs, so either of those guys. But be sure James Conner is going to play this week. But Jalen Samuels, I think, is a fine start. Joe Mixon's a start as well, even in the tough matchup. As long as Ryan Finley's there at quarterback, Mixon looks like he will get more and more volume, so he's getting plenty of opportunities there. He might not have the touchdown this week, but he'll probably have somewhere in the area of 15 to 20 carries and maybe like 3 to 5 receptions. And Carolina versus New Orleans. Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, they're both starts forever and always. You're starting those guys. As far as Latavius Murray, he's a sit. I know that the Panthers, they're 29th against opposing running backs, but honestly, I wouldn't start him. I don't have that confidence. It would take a man with much more confidence than I to start Murray this week, and if you do, he's a low-end flex with high upside. But again, I personally don't have that confidence. I think there's better better plays out there. And then we're going to talk about Raiders versus the Jets. Both these guys are starts. Bell, he's a volume hog. He gets a ton of volume. So, of course, he's a start. And then Josh Jacobs, even in a tough matchup, I think he's a high-end running back too. The Jets are 12th against opposing running backs. But I still like Josh Jacobs, like I said, as a high-end running back too. Seattle versus Philly. Chris Carson, he's a start as well. He sees the volume. It's a tough matchup, but I still like him in this game. And then Jordan Howard, it's starting to look more and more likely Jordan Howard is out. If Jordan Howard does play, though, him and Miles Sanders are sits. But if Jordan is out, I think Miles Sanders becomes a start for me. I like him as a flex play this week. It's a tough matchup, but he offers a lot in the pass game. Detroit versus Washington. You got, out of nowhere, off the streets, Bo Scarborough. I think he's a start. Flex play only just because we're basing this off 1 week of production, but it's a good matchup. The Redskins are 28th against opposing running backs, so I like him here, and I still like J.D. McKissic start because of his pass catching ability. He gets a lot of work as a pass catcher, so I like him there. Derrius Guice, I like as a start as well. It looks like the Redskins are starting to play more of their young players because they want to see what they have in their young players. So that's what you saw with the whole secondary. They pulled Josh Norman, Quinton Dunbar, and they started playing some of their younger players. So yeah, I think they're going to do the same. Guice in the second half saw a lot of more volume than Peterson. Like I said, flex only because I'm making the projection that he's going to take over. As far as Adrian Peterson, AP, man, I think is a sit because of what I brought up now. His volume, I don't think he's going to see the same volume as he normally does. So even in the great matchup where Detroit, they're 32nd against opposing running backs, even in the great matchup, I think I would steer clear of AP this week. Jacksonville versus Tennessee. Both these guys are always starts. Fournette and Henry are always starts. They've just been producing. They're running back ones. That's an easy one. Dallas versus New England. Same, Ezekiel Elliott, he's always a start. As far as Sony Michel, Rex Burkhead, I think they're both sits for me. Michel's been very disappointing this year. I feel like, and it's a so-so matchup. Dallas are 16th against opposing running backs, but I think a lot of that's going to go James White's way. He's a start for me, big pass catcher. I like it. But so I feel like the minute I say Sony Michel, you should bench him. He's going to put up a good game, or he might just get a couple of touchdowns. So if you want, you could put him as a low-end flex. But that's still a rough one for me. Green Bay versus San Fran in the Sunday night game. Aaron Jones is a start. Tough matchup, but I think he's a flex. He does. I think he could. I don't know if this San Fran defense is starting to give up a little bit more to the run. They did shut down Kenyon Drake for the most part Sunday, but if I had to pick Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, it's Aaron Jones all the way. I think they're going to utilize him more and hopefully more in the pass game. But like I said, low end flex, and I already said Jamal Williams is a sit. Matt Breida, if healthy, I think as a start. The Packers are 27th against opposing running backs. They can't really stop the run, and I talked about this in my other video, my quarterback video. I think this is going to be a run-heavy script. So I can see Breida. Devin Coleman obviously is a start. He's healthy. If Breida's healthy, start him. But if Breida's not healthy, Raheem Mo start. I think he's still a sit. Even with Breida out. It's just a lot of us put him in our fantasy lineup last week, and he burned us. So I just don't want to be burned again, man. I don't want to be burned. It actually cost me probably my playoff, my shot at the playoffs. Literally lost by a 1.5 points. It sucked. And on to the Monday night game, Baltimore versus the Rams. Ingram is a start. He's a start. This is a run-heavy offense. I think he's gonna enjoy this game. And then Gus Edwards, I say is a sit. He's still a high priority handcuff, but he only sees production really in garbage time. So don't look at last week as oh man, we got to put him in. They were ahead big and early, so that's why we saw big production at Gus Edwards. Todd Gurley, temper your expectations. He might be a flex this week. Baltimore, they're 9th against opposing running backs, so I would put, again, this is a flex option. I know it's Todd Gurley, but still. As far as the other running backs, they're sits, Henderson and Brown. You can't trust them. And that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing. Mock draft is out now if you're interested in that. But as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.